When I was 6 years old, my family immigrated to the U.S. from Mexico, the legal way. As a little girl, I was so proud to become an American citizen and have the opportunity to chase the American dream. At 13 years old, I was working in these very cotton fields every day, all day in the hot Texas sun. This is where I learned about hard work. From a young age, my parents instilled in me strong conservative values. They taught me to always put God and family first. They also taught me that through hard work and dedication, you can achieve anything. So I worked hard and became the first in my family to graduate from college and became a respiratory care practitioner. I am now a proud mother and a wife living the American dream in my home state of Texas. My name is Mayra Flores. As I grew up, I began to question why so many Hispanics consider themselves Democrats, since the majority of us have been raised with strong conservative values. The Hispanic community is pro-God, pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. So why are we voting Democrat? Democrat policies continue to hurt our communities by breaking down our traditional family values, removing God, and convincing us that we must depend on big government to survive. This is not the Hispanic spirit. This is not what generations before us immigrated to this country for. We came for freedom. We came for opportunity. We came for the American dream. Living in a border state and being an immigrant has taught me the importance of border security. Democrats say border security is racist, but that is a lie. Border security is compassionate, humane, and necessary. It's simply common sense. My husband is a Border Patrol agent. I see the burden that is placed on our Border Patrol by irrational policies introduced by Democrats. The truth is, border security should not be a partisan issue. We cannot allow emotions to overrule logic. Our country cannot sustain the numbers that are crossing our borders illegally. My father gave me the wonderful gift of citizenship. He worked tirelessly so that I would have the opportunity to succeed. Only in America could an immigrant like me become a candidate for Congress. If that is not the American dream, then what is? My name is Mayra Flores, and I am running for Congress to be a new voice in Washington, to represent a new perspective, to protect our America First values, and to restore the American dream for future generations to come.
Okay, Mayra Flores, that's the future of America right there. God and family first. She's pro-God, she's pro-life, and she's pro-America. Mayra Flores joins us here in the War Room Battleground. Mayra, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, about your family, your husband, all of it. But people want to hear your background. Walk us through it before we talk about this race that you're in.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I immigrated to this amazing country when I was 6 years old, thanks to my father, who became an American citizen. And we were able to come here to this amazing country legally. Both my parents were migrant workers. I worked alongside my parents in the cotton fields, which allowed me to get an education, became a respiratory care practitioner, and I'm also a proud mother and a proud Border Patrol wife. And I understand everything that our Border Patrol agents are going through as a Border Patrol wife, and it's very personal to me what our agents are going through. Our Border Patrol agents are our family. They're our husbands, wives, they're our neighbors, they're our familia. So any attack against our Border Patrol agents is an attack against our familia, and it just does not resonate with the people here in South Texas. We probably support our law enforcement. And I'm running for office because I want to make sure that just like I have achieved the American dream, I want our children to also achieve the American dream like I have. And the Democrat Party is jeopardizing the American dream by their dangerous policies that are destroying not only South Texas, but destroying our country.
Mayra, one of the questions I think the audience is going to have is that having come and worked in a cotton field and know the value of hard work and how tough manual labor can be, and being a loving mother and having being a husband that's Border Patrol, why would you give all that up that you've worked for to actually get into elective politics, given that politics now is the politics of personal destruction, and particularly that the left will see you as an existential threat? You're an existential threat to the system because you're a Hispanic American citizen. They're sitting there going, hey, we're not buying it anymore. So they have to destroy you. It has to happen. So why are you giving all this up to run for office right now?
I feel like I owe it to this country. This country has given me so much, and I've been able to accomplish everything I've ever wanted to. And like I said, I just want to give back to this country that has given me so much, and my family. And I'm truly fed up, just like everyone here in South Texas, with the constant corruption and compadre system, where these elected officials get elected but only help their compadres or their families, but not help the people that elected them to be in office. And I'm one of them. I understand the struggle. I understand what it's like to live here in South Texas. I understand what it's like to start from the bottom and accomplish, you know, um, your goals. And I just want to make sure that everyone gets that opportunity, not just me.
Mayra, in the last hour, we had our correspondents down, our investigative reporters. They're in Panama right now, right outside the Darien Gap. And they're talking about a situation. Mayorkas went down there on Black Hawk helicopters. They're talking about setting up this thing, a controlled flow with they have 80 countries down there now getting ready to come north to Mexico and then to South Texas and to the Rio Grande Valley. Your husband's a Border Patrol agent. Can you describe to folks out there what it's like for Hispanic Americans in South Texas and the Rio Grande Valley, and particularly those that are the defenders of our freedom and the Border Patrol, when you see an invasion that's really driven and very well thought through by the Biden administration, ma'am?
To be honest with you, prior to the Biden administration, I never really worried about my husband's life. And ever since the Biden administration came in office, our Border Patrol agents have been shot at multiple times. So I am concerned about, my husband's life. And I tell him every single day, just come home safe. I know that you have a very difficult job. Do the best that you can. There's only so much you can do. Um, your job provides for your family, and remember that we're here waiting for you. And I never had to worry about those things. I see how stressful he is. He doesn't talk much about what he goes through. He doesn't want to bring it here at home, but I see it. I see that he has difficulty sleeping. I see that he's a lot more stressed. So it is hitting us tremendously, and not just me, of course. I'm one of thousands of more Border Patrol families, and I'm sure all our Border Patrol wives understand what I'm saying.
Mayra, Flores, can you tell us a little bit about the race that you're in currently? Can you give us some details about it?
Absolutely. Filemon Vela resigned in the middle of a crisis when we're going through very difficult times, when living expenses continue to get more expensive every single day. He was offered a lobbying job, and he pretty much said, screw everyone. I'm going to get this job, and forgot about the people that had been elected him over and over and over. And look, this district has been taken for granted for decades, and the people of this district are ready for change. And we're knocking doors every single day. We're talking to people every single day, and there will be voting for Mayra Flores on this special election, which early voting starts on May 31st. Election day is on June 14th. And we're going to send a strong message to Washington that we do not support these far left policies that are creating this border crisis. Yes, we support immigration. I'm an immigrant. Of course, I support immigration, but we do not support an invasion. And I don't blame the people. I blame the administration for encouraging people to go through this dangerous journey, knowing what's behind illegal immigration, knowing that the criminal organizations are making millions and millions of dollars and taking advantage of the people and abusing women and children. This administration doesn't care about the American people, but also doesn't care about the immigrants. There's another agenda that they're trying to put in that is more than what we can think of.
Mayra, how do people find out more about you, your story, and particularly your race for Congress, ma'am?
Please donate and join this fight. You know, this isn't just about South Texas. We will be sending a strong message to Washington by electing the first Mexican American born in Mexico, and we're going to end this identity politics on June 14th. Go to www.mayrafloresforcongress.com, donate, and join our fight.
Mayra, thank you very much for joining us in the War Room today. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. God bless you.
Yes, ma'am. Steve Cortes, you've preached this gospel for a long time. Now you're seeing it come to fruition. Talk to me about this.
Look, this is an incredible movement, and it really is that. What's going on across this country right now, the America First movement, and I keep trying to encourage people that as dire as things are in this country, and they are very dire, and we don't sugarcoat it, Steve, you and I, regarding the state that this country is in right now, particularly regarding the economy. But there are also reasons to be hopeful, and one of the key reasons is the way the America First movement is growing and burgeoning and transforming the Republican Party into a party that represents workers in this country, and that is multi-ethnic and multiracial, that has true diversity. And people like Mayra Flores are so critical to that movement and to that surge, really. She's such an impressive candidate on so many levels. She's so persuasive. She has her principles, of course, in the right place. But I also was really grabbed watching her just now, Steve, hearing her testimony talking about the stress put on families by this open border, the Customs and Border Patrol agents, these brave men and women who are literally the guardians of our country, who are trying to guard the front door of America. And they're doing so because of Joe Biden in the hardest of circumstances. They're being put in impossible positions, and yet they soldier on because they're patriots and they're public servants. But it's not easy, obviously, for them. And it certainly isn't easy for the family either. So I think she brings a very unique perspective in that regard. She brings a lot to the table, but she brings a very unique perspective in that regard. And I believe she can and will win. Look, when we look at the statistics, again, we always like to cite the data. Let's talk about some of the data in South Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley. President Trump's moves from 2016 to 2020 there in only 4 years, Steve, you know this, they were just cataclysmic. I mean, you never see these kinds of, I should say monumental, because cataclysm makes it sound like it's something bad. They were monumental. In their scope in only 4 years. For example, Starr County, which is the most Hispanic county in America, it is 96% Latino on the U.S.-Mexico border in the Rio Grande Valley. Trump was clobbered there in 2016. He lost to Hillary Clinton by 60%. He didn't quite win it in 2020, but he came dang close. He rallied 55% on margin to only lose Starr County by 5%. Right next door is Zapata County, which is an incredibly majority Hispanic county. He did win Zapata County. He rallied 38% between 2016 and 2020 on margin. But listen, that's good news. Here's the even better news. We're just getting started. I mean, right? We don't want to just celebrate those gains, as magnificent as they are. We realize that this movement is in the early innings. And because of that, we have these impressive young candidates, many of them women, by the way, many of them these firebrand Latinas who are rising up in Texas and elsewhere. By the way, great day to be talking to a Texan and about Texas. This is the anniversary of the Battle of San Jacinto. General Sam Houston defeated Santa Anna on this day in 1836, which ensured Texas independence and avenged the massacre at the Alamo, which had happened only weeks earlier. So this is a special day for Texans, and they achieved Texas independence before they became part of the United States. And we need that fighting spirit now on the political battlefield. Mayra certainly has it. And thankfully, she's not alone. There are a lot of other fantastic Hispanic candidates as well. Over in Nevada, I think Carolina Serrano is somebody, Colombian immigrant, who has a lot of the same characteristics, the same fight, the same principles. We send people like that, people like Carolina and Mayra to the Congress, and we're going to have a very different Republican caucus than we had the last time Republicans were in charge.
This also, I want to say, I want your analysis of this, your commentary, your thoughts. We say we're 2/3 or 75% of the country. She's pro-God, pro-life, pro-American. This is the Hispanic community. The Hispanic community has been lied to for years. And quite frankly, the American people just kind of bought into it. There couldn't be, in the African-American community and the Hispanic community, you couldn't have two more demographics that are more conservative or family-oriented. Those are our voters once we get the law and order, and once we get the economics right. Steve Cortes.
No, 100%. And this is why, Steve, I never shirk away from the cultural issues. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite. I think we need to run toward them. The cultural issues are foundational to this movement, to America First, because again, I think the combination is cultural conservatism plus economic populist nationalism. If you combine those two principles, those two philosophies, those agendas, it's not only right for the country, but it's also right politically. That is the winning formula. And on the culture, I will tell you this, and I wish I had some data on this. I need to try to get somebody to do some good polling on this. I don't have data, but I can tell you anecdotally from talking to Hispanics, whether my relatives or friends, throughout my political networks, Hispanics are particularly reviled right now by all this sexualization of children and the way we are abusing children, trying to confuse children regarding gender. Hispanics have a very strong sense of traditional culture, largely Catholic and evangelical communities that believe in traditional family, that believe in very strong fathers and nurturing mothers. Hispanics, thankfully, don't apologize for these sorts of things the way maybe wine moms who have PhDs in suburban New York do, right? So Hispanics are a very different group of people. And I think it's one of the reasons, by the way, and again, I don't think we talk about this enough, but we shouldn't be ashamed of it. I think one of the reasons Donald Trump appealed to Hispanics was his machismo. It was his masculinity. It was part of his appeal to them. So they want us to be, not that it has to be a man, but they want us to be strong in our beliefs. And they want us to, the Republican idea before Trump to market to Hispanics was always, well, let's basically present them with a Democrat light agenda, right? Let's be soft in immigration. Let's not talk about the cultural stuff. Let's not talk about pro-life. And it never worked, right? And then people wondered why it never worked. Well, what works is conviction, principle. And on these matters of culture, the left has gotten so radical that they have effectively made Hispanics and a lot of other traditionally minded Americans, they've made them into political orphans. And that is the reality right now. This is not your parents' or your grandparents' Democratic Party any longer. But it can't just be that we're being rewarded politically by the Democrats pushing them away. That's helpful, sure, but we need to also provide for those Hispanics and other traditionally minded Americans a home, a political home where they know that their agenda is going to be taken seriously and advanced in a significant way. So again, this 2022 election, in my view, is going to be so transformational, and it's going to set the stage if we have America First Republican majorities, not just Republican, America First Republican majorities in both the House and the Senate. And even if we have McCarthy and Mitch McConnell as leaders, and I don't want either of them to be leaders, but let's just say for the sake of argument that they will have caucuses of people like Mayra Flores who are going to push them into acting the right way. They were going to push them away from perhaps their default position, which is normally corporatist globalism. They're not going to be able to control a caucus that has all those America First firebrands and adherents in it. So it's our job as activists, as people in the movement, to make sure that we elect them, send them to the Congress, and that sets the stage, sets the table then for an America First president to be elected in 2024. I personally hope it's Donald Trump, but whoever that America First president is will then have the right kind of America First Congress to make cultural conservatism plus economic populist nationalism a reality for this country.
Well, let's go now from Texas to Florida. Can I play the cold open? Got Anthony Sabatini who's running down there. But big events today in Florida. I want to bring in Anthony to be one of the members of that caucus, America First caucus. Can we play the cold open, Memphis?
Occupy this floor. We will not be denied. We will not be denied. Stop the bloodshed. We demand that the Florida legislature does its job and draws the map. Democrats and Republicans in all transparency, with all information, all data. Stop the black attack. Stop the black attack. Stop the black attack. We will occupy this floor. This is the people's house. Not the governor's house. This is the people's house.
Okay, that was today in the Florida legislature. I want to bring in Anthony Sabatini. Anthony, we've had two big, massive victories today, one on the redistricting map, the other on the Disney situation. But explain to our audience, what are we watching right there, sir?
I got to tell you, Steve, it was a circus today on the Florida House of Representatives floor. It was what they called a protest. Some people called it an insurrection, definitely more of an insurrection than they've talked about in the past. It was them trying to basically shut down the Florida legislature to prevent two different bills from passing, one of which was our congressional maps. Governor DeSantis pushed through a really good set of congressional maps. And the War Room Nation, your audience, has been really helpful in pushing and putting pressure on Republican officials to make sure they got that done. And this is what they were most angry about. More specifically, what they're angry about was that we decided not to create racially gerrymandered seats. They wanted gerrymandered seats. We said no, and this was their reaction. The other big item in terms of the bills we passed today was cracking down on woke Disney, which has declared war on the state of Florida and our families and our educational curriculum because we won't go along with teaching transgender ideology to K through third graders. So both those bills were moving through the House. They decided to pull this stunt. They shut down the floor effectively for about 30 minutes, but then the legislature decided to jam the bills through. They didn't want to debate them, so we ended up passing both the Disney bills and the congressional maps all in a matter of about 3 minutes, and ended up leaving hours and hours and hours early. And we're on our way back home to our districts now. So it was a very eventful day in Florida, but also a really sad day because as a proud Floridian, this is the first time our legislative delegation or body deliberation has ever been interrupted. And it's just really sad to see the left continuously destroy tradition and lower standards and just make a mockery of the political process.
Anthony, I want to make sure people understand this. These were elected officials. This was not outside, I don't know, agitators or whatever. This was an insurrection inside. You can continually every day have jammed down your throat. The Trump movement's anti-democratic, that all these congressmen that are running are nothing but mini fascists. These were elected representatives that had this childish demonstration. Is that correct, sir?
That is exactly right. There's been times where up in the House gallery above the floor, you'll see a protester yell or do something that is meant to be interruptive. This was the first time that the majority of Democrats on the House floor decided to stage a giant protest right there in the middle of our deliberative body. So this is unprecedented and just really a new low. And it also, I think, perfectly demonstrates the Democrat privilege that they have. You know, if they claim they're on the right side of history and that their leftism is the right thing to do, they feel that they can shut down deliberative bodies and commence all types of crazy acts because they get that kind of privilege. It's quite sad.
Real quickly, I think people are stunned by the scale of what happened here, both on redistricting and Disney, but also the alacrity of the speed. This has happened over a couple of days. I mean, you broke the story here right before Easter that there was going to be called a special session the day after Easter Monday. Here we are on Thursday night of the last couple of the special session, and it's DeSantis could sign both bills. Talk to us about how it happened so quickly.
So let me start with this. The governor received all the bills about an hour ago. So we're expecting a signature either any minute sometime tonight, possibly tomorrow, and potentially early next week. But he'd literally be signing these bills in to law any minute now here in the state of Florida. And yes, you're exactly right, Steve. Just a few weeks ago, the old guard in the state legislature were trying to put forth a set of maps that would have been very good for Democrats, very gerrymandered, very liberal, just to evade media criticism and a fight from the left. And DeSantis and a few of us in the legislature said, no, we're going to fight. And the governor first called this special session. And then just to put the sort of cherry on top, 4 days ago, the governor said, you know what, we're going to add a crackdown on Disney to the special session. So it became a sort of dual topic special session, a crackdown on Disney's really sort of corrupt, privileged tax status, self-governing tax status in Florida, in addition to the best congressional map in the country, I think, for the ratios. If you think about it this way, it created 3 new Republican seats and wiped out another Democrat seat. The net, they say, is 7, but it's really 4 new Republican seats. And he just cleaned up a huge mess that the legislature almost commenced in. So this was one of the most historic weeks in the history of the state of Florida, if you ask me.
Anthony, you're running now for federal office for Congress. Tell people how they get to your site to find out more about you.
It's Sabatini4Congress.com, and I'm on every social media platform at Anthony Sabatini, Sabatini.
Anthony Sabatini, thank you so much for taking time away to join us on this historic week in Florida.
Thanks, Steve. Take care.
Steve Cortes, historic couple of days. Put it in perspective for us, sir.
DeSantis I refer to him as Governor Beast Mode, Steve, because he deserves to be called Governor Beast Mode. I mean, this guy just gets it. And he knows that, look, elections have consequences, and he is going to use the power that the people of Florida have entrusted in him to enact real serious change in his state, to protect children, to go after gigantic corporations who have abused the American people for decades. I mean, it's really magnificent, the kinds of things he's doing. By the way, Sabatini is a fantastic candidate. He's another one who will, you're exactly right, who will join people like Mayra Flores in that America First caucus in the House of Representatives. My only disagreement, and I almost never disagree with him, I'm going to defend my new home state of Tennessee. I think we drew the most gangster map in the entire country, but still, kudos to Florida. They did a great job. That's a fun kind of argument to have. Who is more gangster with the redistricting?
Cortes, give me a flex. How do people follow you? How do they get to all your great content?
Yeah, please follow me on Getter, and I'm doing a live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, on young Americans turning against Biden and against globalism. So please join me on the Getter live stream. I am at Steve, very simple, on the Getter. You can also find me on Twitter for now at Cortes Steve.
We're putting that up on War Room, and we're putting it up on my personal site, his live stream tonight. Steve Cortes, thank you for taking time away to join us.
Thank you, sir.
Short commercial break. The second half of the show would be hotter than the first, and the first was pretty hot. Stick around. You're in the War Room.
War Room Battleground with Stephen K. Bannon.
In the great state of Tennessee, the 5th congressional district is right here in the central part of the state. Fun fact about the 5th district is that it's the only district in the whole state that doesn't share a border with another state. It's basically the landlocked Tennessee congressional district. And it turns out there's a whole bunch of little tidbits about that district that are of interest to people who live there. There's enough of them that you could sort of make up a whole game show about it if you wanted to. A local radio station in Nashville has done just that. It's called Taking the Fifth, and the game show goes a little bit like this.
Here we go. What 3 interstate highways are located in the 5th congressional district?
Oh, I'm a terrible driver. I don't know that. I don't drive anywhere that I go.
Okay, it's I-65, I-40, and I-24.
I don't drive anywhere that I go. It's all hang gliding? I don't know. If you don't like driving, though, that might be a tricky question. The interstates thing, maybe? The thing you need to know about this trivia game show, though, about the 5th congressional district in Tennessee is that they don't invite just random people from the district to play this game. This radio station specifically invites people to play this game if they are running for Congress to represent this district. That clip we just played was, in fact, a Republican candidate who was running in the Republican primary to try to fill an open congressional seat in the Tennessee 5th. So she goes on this local radio show to show her would-be constituents how she deserves to be their representative, how one she is with the people of the 5th district. And her first question, that one about the 3 interstates in the district, that didn't go well. It was just the first question, though. Plenty of time for redemption.
A country music superstar, a famous multi-Grammy Award-winning performer, has a popular winery in the center of the 5th district in Arrington, Tennessee.
I have been to that winery.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's great. I love that winery. I bought like a...
Who owns it?
Who owns it? Oh, you got this, though, right? You've been to the winery. You bought some of their wine. I bought some wine. Okay. So you got this one. You've been there. Right? This one, Alicia's going to get this one, right? It has to answer the question, though.
It's great. I love that winery. I bought like some wine. I don't know who owns it, but I love it. We went there for the summer and had a picnic outside. It was beautiful.
Kix Brooks. So he's a Tennessean.
Who owns the winery? Who owns it? No idea. Absolutely no idea. Here's another one. This is about that big, giant car dealership in your district. Right in the center of the district. It's huge. You can't miss it. Everybody who lives there knows that one.
One of the most famous NASCAR drivers living today lives in the 5th district, has a large auto dealership in Franklin. Who is that?
My husband is the car guy. He knows all. He used to race. He knows all of the racing stuff.
Darrell Waltrip. Okay, this is a Tennessee one. Okay.
I think they all are Tennessee ones.
She's realizing in real time how bad this is going. I think these are all Tennessee questions, Patrick. So this is going very poorly for me. But there's one more. This is the last one from the very end of the game.
Rather well-known Confederate general, one whose name and history have been a source of enormous controversy in Tennessee the last few years, was born and raised in the community of Chapel Hill in the 5th District. Who was he?
I don't know.
Nathan Bedford Forrest. What county is Chapel Hill in?
I don't know.
Marshall County. It's in your district.
So that did not go well for that candidate. Her name is Morgan Ortegas. And, it's a remarkable thing to see this just kind of a disillusion, right? A candidate for public office not being able to name the counties in her district.
Michael Patrick Leahy joins us. We had Michael on. He's our partner on the Star News Network. He's the founder of it and the president, CEO of it. Also, the Tennessee Star has that morning show that we've been on many times. I've known Michael for many years. Michael, I got to tell you, it's not often that people on the right get Rachel Maddow to be the straight man for you, and she did a fabulous job. That was actually, I saw it when it was live. I couldn't stop laughing. But I also think whether people live in the district, don't live in the district, if you're going to run in Tennessee, you got to know something about country music. You got to know something about NASCAR, and you got to know something about the Civil War. I don't know if you need to know the counties in the district, but that's kind of basic. So this kicked this entire thing, and of course you had that a couple of weeks ago, but it's gotten much more serious. You got laws being passed, and now the party stepping in. Robbie Starbuck got caught up in this. Just give us the state of play. We had Robbie on this morning. I know there's a lot of controversy about what's going on, and we're about to have Joe Severino in Illinois. Got another issue like that up there. Walk us through where's the state of play right now in Tennessee 5, sir?
Yeah, well, good question, Steve. So as of noon today, Robbie Starbuck and Morgan Ortegas have been disqualified because they didn't meet the standards set forward in the bylaws of the Tennessee Republican Party. So they're not on the ballot. Baxter Lee was also removed. And to get back on the ballot, they would have to sue and win in state court. The precedent is very, very bad for that. Here in Tennessee, it has always been the case that the courts have said primary ballot, that's all to be determined by the party. So it'd be a long shot for them to get back. I must say this was a very straightforward, honest process conducted by the Tennessee Republican Party. And anybody that says it was corrupt is engaged in what I would call a defamatory.
Second, I think Robbie's saying now that, hey, these rules came up and maybe because Ortegas came in and she's so high visibility, but that this was party elites not letting people decide. And I think even Don Jr. tweeted this out, that not letting people decide, put them all on the ballot and let the people decide regardless of where they lived before. People in Tennessee are smart enough to weigh and measure who's a Tennessean or who has Tennessee values. What say you, sir?
Well, Don Trump Jr. is wrong and Robbie is wrong. There's a very clear process set forward in the bylaws for somebody to become nominated. It's been out there since April of 2019. You got to be in 3 out of the 4 most recent Tennessee primary elections. Robbie apparently didn't read the bylaws before he announced. He didn't meet that standard. And the decision-making, according to the bylaws, is by the 17-member committee. And that committee has full discretion to make those determinations. They follow the bylaws. They said Robbie and Morgan didn't make it. They're out.
Do you think, Michael Patrick Leahy, that this would have been an issue? Robbie Starbuck's been out. He's an influencer, a MAGA influencer. He's been out doing this, I think, for a year. Got a wife that runs a not-for-profit that focuses on child sex trafficking. Do you think this would have happened if Ortegas hadn't gotten in this race with all the really...
Oh, yeah.
On the front
he would
page,
not
I think,
have
of the
been.
Guardian.
He wouldn't have met the standard anyways. Ortegas didn't meet the standards. He didn't meet the standards. Baxter Lee didn't meet the standards. And again, it was a very fair process. It's all within the bylaws and state law. So they're off the ballot, and their chances of getting back on are slim to none.
Why is that? You don't think they can sue in Tennessee court and get this thing reversed?
Very low, virtually impossible. You know, the best election lawyers in Tennessee have looked at this. I've talked to both of them, and they said not a chance. They wouldn't take the case because it's a dog of a case, and they wouldn't win.
Michael Patrick Leahy, how do people get to you on not just the Tennessee Star, but the entire Star News Network? That you are our partners
Steve,
here.
by the way, the traffic at our site has gone way up since our partnership, and I thank you at the War Room for doing that. The StarNewsNetwork.com, the StarNewsNetwork.com.
Michael Patrick Leahy, it's always good to have Rachel Maddow be a straight man, but that was a very funny piece that she did on that. So
thanks,
good work,
Steve.
good work,
Great
sir.
to be with you.
Thank you, brother. I want to go to Illinois now. Illinois, by the way, there's obviously the state of President Lincoln, but there's a lot of MAGA in Illinois, not just in Chicago, but downstate. I want to go to Joe Severino in Illinois 10. Joe, you got another controversy up there about kind of like an issue like this. Walk us through what's going on.
So first off, thanks for having me on the show, Steve. I appreciate it. Secondly, about a month ago, objectors petitioned that Brad Schneider be removed from the ballot because he claimed to live in a residence that he did not occupy at the time of circulating his petitions, and therefore, traditionally, he should be removed from the ballot because he didn't fit the candidacy criteria. He also filed a false statement of candidacy, and therefore that should be removed from the ballot. Well, typical Illinois politics, they went in front of an election board, and they voted that although he identified as someone who lived in a property that he didn't reside in, and he didn't understand completely what the oath of candidacy was, that they left him on. So I think the people of the 10th district are aggrieved. They have a sitting congressman that didn't go out and work hard to get on the ballot. And at this point, the objectors are going to decide whether they want to appeal the ruling or not.
Hang on, I want to make sure I understand this. You're saying that he identified and he did know the oath. Isn't he a federal?
Exactly.
I mean, how can they make that a lot? How can they make that a logic? How can that be a rational argument?
He's a five-time seeking term congressman, legislating on behalf of 750,000 people in the district, and navigating our nation along with 434 other representatives, and he actually was clumsy in the way he turned in his petitions. He was building a home, never occupied it, never left his previous home, but they allowed him to stay on in typical Illinois fashion. And as I said, I believe he's aggrieving an entire district.
Well, hang on for a second. And you're saying this is smash mouth Democratic politics. This is why we kept saying that you got to get those seats down in Florida. You got to get those seats in Tennessee. The great folks in Tennessee did it. You got to get them in Missouri because the Democrats play smash mouth. Is that what we saw here, smash mouth Democratic politics?
That's exactly what we saw. As a matter of fact, I think just after our case was heard, they removed a Republican for the Illinois appellate court. So it's all about politics. As a matter of fact, it's dribbling into academia, as the nation is now aware, and those are the things that I'm fighting against. Earlier today, we had a protest at Lake Forest Middle School requesting all the students to join in on a day of silence to support LGBTQ. And the indoctrination, the politics at every level, even in healthcare, it's just of our society, and Joe, particularly our district, and that's what I'm going to fight against.
Okay, fine. Walk us through tell people how they get to your site, how they find out more about you as a person, and how they find out more about your campaign.
To find out more about me as a person, very briefly, married, 5 children, pro-life, pro-gun, pro-constitution, donating our salary back to the community to show we're here to serve. You can find me at SeverinoForCongress.com, SeverinoForCongress.com. Steve, if any of your listeners are kind enough to make a contribution to our campaign, support us. We're fighting quite a giant here, and I think we're going to be successful at the end of the day.
Joe Severino, Illinois 10. Keep fighting. I want everybody to go check the site out, find out more about Joe, and find out more about this battle. I'm telling you, this is an object lesson and how the Democrats play smash mouth. And look, hey, it is what it is. But this is why you get Tennessee, you get Florida. This is why you see it in New York, you see it in Illinois, California, most of all. When the Democrats got the top, when they're on top, it's nothing but smash mouth. And just look at nothing more than this district out there is ridiculous. what they pulled. Just absolutely absurd. Okay, Joe Severino, fight on. I want everybody to go check out Joe Severino's site tonight. We're gonna put it up on Getter and all our platforms. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'll go to Georgia now and to Vernon Jones. Had a little technical problem this morning. Vernon, you more than anybody. Look, I come from a Southern Democratic family. We're working class Irish. But Vernon, you also know Democrats play smash mouth. It's unbelievable. But I want to get to the point of what happened a couple of days ago. It was over Easter. There was a clip put up by Congressman Omar, and it was about a Christian group, and they were singing one of these, hootenanny hymns on a plane. And she put a snide remark on there on a thing. And I know Royce White, who's running against her up there, had a problem with that. I know you had a problem with that. And then you got some blowback from some people. Walk us through what the situation is with Congressman Omar and yourself.
Well, as you know, she's a part of the squad. And the way that she attacked those people who were on the plane, who were praising God, I'm Southern Baptist, and we praise God anytime we feel it. It could be on the train, on the plane, or anywhere else. When the spirit hits you, we let go. But for her to make a mockery of them and for her to make sly comments and then tweet about it, you would think she would just want to go back to her country and take her brother with her, because that was not a good thing. I believe in the freedom of religion. We all should be able to express ourselves. But for her to take a shot at us, we can't praise God anywhere we want to. I thank God all the time. I'm thanking him for being on your show. I'm thanking him for being in this race, wanting to run for Congress and win and take back our country. God knows we need our country back. She just way out there, and that's why I'm equipped to take the squad.
But hang on a second. I think she wouldn't she say, this shows you that Vernon Jones may have been a Democrat, but he's nothing but a Georgia cracker. Okay, because she would say, I'm an American citizen, and Vernon Jones is attacking my ethnicity. He's attacking whether I'm a citizen or not. What say you, Vernon?
Oh, let me tell you, I don't care about her ethnicity. I don't care about that at all. What I care about is this is America, home of the free and the brave. And for her to, again, make a mockery of those people who were on the plane, who wanted to just praise and elevate God's name and give him all the glory and all the praise, what is wrong with that? And so why would I attack her? But she's been using that. See, she can't play that ethnicity card with me. Just like the rest of them, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they like to pander. That's why I call them the Black Pander Party. They like to pander to black people. And then they like to call Republicans racist, when in fact liberals are the most racist, because they think, what's best for black people. Even want to tell them where to live and how to vote and who to vote for, and build them a habitat house, but not in their neighborhoods. And so that's what makes me so anxious about getting to Washington, taking on the squad, reshaping that narrative, taking it back, and taking our country back.
Vernon, let's talk about the 24th of May. You got a primary coming up. It's tough in Georgia 10, but President Trump's slate of Perdue and Jones or John Gordon running for AG, and Jody Heiss. You got great people, but that slate right now, when I look at the polling, I'm not so sure it's going to get there. Tell us what's going on, and why is the President Trump's endorsements, and because you're an endorsed candidate, are they getting traction in Georgia right now, sir?
Let me tell you, when President Trump endorsed me and I got in the 10th congressional race, we went from last place to first place. The most recent polls showing us surging ahead. President Trump is strong. There's new rope here. His endorsement means a lot. They love him here. He has about a 95% approval rating. Obviously, each candidate has to get out and plow their own road. They need to fight hard and run on the America First agenda. What's ironic here, we have these rhinos, even in my own race with Mike Collins, for example. He's talking about how he's pro-Trump, but then the same tactics he used, the Kavanaugh, the Trump, the Clarence Thomas, those are the tactics that he's using. So he's really trying to hit Trump behind his back, throwing the rocks, I should say, and hiding his hands. But if run on the First America agenda, it works here. People want to take their country back. They want to see a balanced budget. They want to see Joe Biden gone. They want to see us stand up and fight for what we believe in this country. In other words, creating jobs, securing the border. They want to make sure that even when you look at our supply chain, the crisis there, that didn't happen under President Trump. That's why I always say with President Trump, they can come with all that foolishness, all the talk. But look, he can talk about what he did, what he accomplished. He has a solid record of accomplishment. Joe Biden does not. And so I'm running on the America First agenda. It has worked. It will work. And that's why we're building an army in 2022 so we can take the White House in 2024.
Tell us how to find out more about you and how to find out more about this race, because Georgia 10's all important, and we're going to impeach Joe Biden. Vernon Jones got to be standing tall along with Anthony Sabatini and Mayra Flores. So how do they find out more about you and more about this race?
Yes, because day one I'm going to be offering articles of impeachment to get rid of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But you can go to jonesforgeorgia.com. Let me tell you, I'm fighting the establishment. I'm fighting the rhinos and the liberals and the liberal news media. They don't want to see me there, Steve, because they know that I would be a game changer, that I would destroy the Democratic Party and what would be left of it. So, yes, help me win this race. Go to jonesforgeorgia.com. Donate right now. Let me tell you, I want to say, if you're listening to this show right now, they are afraid of me. They know that I would nail that final nail in the Democrat coffin and get us back to making America great again. Again, go to jonesforgeorgia.com. Let's fight. We want a matador, not a doormat. Let's go up and fight.
Vernon Jones, thank you. And thank you for joining us on War Room Battleground. Appreciate it, brother.
Yes.
Vernon Jones, a great American patriot. Let's bring in Tej Gill. Tej served his country as a Navy SEAL. He's got a company, Warpath Coffee. We're so glad to be a partner. Tej, you have made my day, brother. I got my Warpath coffee, the dark roast, Mariner's roast. This is what's got me jacked up all week as we tested it. It's ready to roll. Nice. You go to warpath.coffee. Give me 60 seconds on how good this coffee is, sir.
The coffee's amazing, Steve. Last year I decided to launch a coffee, so I found a great roaster. He's been roasting for over 30 years. The coffee he roasts is amazing. The beans are very fresh. They're roasted. The roast profile he uses, it's incredible. You won't need to use milk or sugar anymore. It's very smooth. It's not acidic. It's not sour, and I mean it's real gourmet coffee. So. Okay. There's a lot of coffee companies out there that
Warpath.coffee. We'll have you back on tomorrow. Warpath.coffee. Okay. Put in War Room. You get 15% off. Tomorrow, Tej is going to join us. Also, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going to have a worldwide exclusive on something you haven't seen or heard before. It's going to blow everybody's head up. Boris Epstein is going to join us. You're not going to want to miss this. And Tej Gill is going to join us. Warpath.coffee. Go there now. Get my Mariner's roast. See you tomorrow morning at 10.